The move to data-driven farming has become crucial to make agriculture in New Zealand not only more productive, but more sustainable and compliant with government regulations. Now, compliance in agriculture itself is in fact a very spatial problem. It involves bringing together location-enabled datasets and analysis, which connects the various aspects of a farm. So datasets like operational information, your livestock, your paddocks, assets and people. Integrating in IoT feeds from sensors, we can start to paint a better picture of how a farm is performing and complying. Your slope or elevation, your climate and water data, and imagery both aerial and drone captured. Bringing these all together, we can build up a holistic view that can then be analysed for trends and run against scenarios. This could include running hydrological or hydraulic models, connecting to nitrogen models, or perhaps erosion and soil loss models. Now, all of this spatial farm data, no matter where it's coming from, can be brought together, measured, interpreted, and then shared and acted on. Whether that be to calculate and advise mitigations while out in the field, like you might have seen in our Maps for Farm Management video, or it could be to feed into or to generate a regulatory document like a farm environmental plan. In fact, several leading New Zealand organisations such as Balance Agri-Nutrients and Ravensdown are currently using ArcGIS to underpin their compliance capabilities and systems. So bringing the spatial technology to the forefront is an integral piece of software that is typically embedded within their sophisticated business workflows. Pāmu Farms of New Zealand has also taken a location-driven approach to a very important compliance issue in farming, winter cropping, where farmers are facing increasing pressure from the public and from regulatory bodies to demonstrate good farming practices and substantiate their licences to operate. They needed to be able to simplify the complex decision processes and mitigations for their farmers. So Bronwyn Rogers and Sarah Dudden of Pāmu chose to tackle this problem with spatial applications such as Esri's Survey 123, a form-centric data capture tool, which you may have seen in our other videos, moving their farmers from paper-based processes to interactive mapping applications. Now, these Survey 123 forms were designed to support Pāmu's farm staff with their on-the-ground decisions when selecting paddocks for cropping. Now, this in turn helped influence and facilitate better farming practices and meet the emerging regulations around animal health and soil health. Bronwyn actually put together a great story map explaining the problem of winter cropping and why ArcGIS technology was used. The issue itself really boils down to mud and the impacts winter cropping has on animal health, public perception, soil health and leaching. It's happening in Southland but also across New Zealand from intensive grazing during colder months. Now, public perception and regulatory compliance really drove the need to understand where this was happening and how to mitigate it. And as a result, a campaign was launched to highlight these issues. So how did ArcGIS technology help? Well, like most compliance processes, there are a lot of steps and considerations involved. A team of environmental, animal health, soil health, and geospatial specialists came together to design a tool that would allow the on-the-ground decision-making for crop paddock selection. Survey 123 was chosen as the platform of choice as it enabled a workflow from data collection, collation, and reporting through to analysis. Key benefits were also that it was simple to use, it was portable, and it was accessible to remote staff, so it worked offline. And the form itself needed to be able to accommodate all the considerations of the decision tree, but in a more intuitive way. So let's take a look at some of the screenshots of the application itself. So here we're looking at where the paddock is, who is assessing it, and some key details. There are sediment loss considerations and mitigations, and then nutrient loss considerations and mitigations, productivity information, and animal and welfare considerations, all in one application. Survey 123 accommodated for the complex business logic with conditional logic built into the form. So that means only presenting certain follow-up questions dependent on what had been previously selected. This was all then summarised into a report of mitigations, and a decision statement was calculated to define whether a paddock is suitable for forage crop. This was all then brought together in a dashboard that was used to show the scale of the work and the vulnerable environmental factors on these properties. So through the use of these ArcGIS applications, farmers were able to look at their land with fresh eyes, prompting more consideration of the land use that they were planning. From this, Bronwyn and the Pāmu team are developing their Survey 123 applications further, with spatial forms that will specifically simulate an audit from a regulatory body, like their Survey 123 winter forage crop grazing practice audit. This introduces compliance factors like the presence of waterways and critical source areas and soil type management and soil compaction and all the associated mitigations. And these are just to name a few. Pāmu are just one of the many agriculture organisations taking a spatial approach to compliance management and using out-of-the-box tools to report and summarise this information for others and for government bodies. With the success of these tools, many organisations that already leverage ArcGIS could potentially have access to repeat and reuse the apps, an initiative that's on the cards for Pāmu. Now, thanks again to Bronwyn for sharing her work and highlighting the importance of location in agricultural compliance management.